call me old man Wade.
Damn you, old man!
Wait.
Old ass man.
Shut up, old man. You smell like fart.
No, man!
Old man.
He's so old, he got a podcast on cassette.
Fuck, you're old.
Damn it, Wade.
And welcome back to the Old Man Wade Show. I am your host, Old Man Wade. It's been a long time. We shouldn't have left you without a dope pod to step to.
Whoop whoop.
Welcome back, everybody. And with my co-host, Super Bowl Garvey.
What's up, everybody?
We got reoccurring guests. We got Just Greg.
I'm Gregory.
Gregorio.
I mean, reoccurring guest sounds a little cold. I'd say like family.
He knows his family. Greg is one of my rock star groomsmen, man.
Bro, man.
Bruh man. Bruh man with an actual
I
job.
climbed through the window.
Actually, you kind of are bruh man because no one knows what you do.
Was that bro man? Everybody knew what bro man did. He
That was
climbed
Tommy.
the window. Tommy.
Tommy. You like Tommy, man.
He's the muscle.
Like, you ain't
Don't
got-
come through here if you want problems.
It's like, you ain't got no job, Greg.
Nope.
Everyone knows I'm a goon. But yeah, so what's going on, everybody? How's everyone been?
Tired.
I am not tired, surprisingly. I'm spending first 2 days of my week week holiday. As we have the kids outside talking. Oh damn!
I ain't got no kids. Don't affect me none.
I believe the children are the future.
I'll believe I'll be dead before they. But nah, so I know Super Bowl over here is on his break, so I took advantage of him not being around school for a little bit and decided to make him time to do a couple of podcasts when we got the opportunity to.
Yeah, I'm just celebrating, man. Stress free. You know, I've been avoiding the news, which helped me be even more stress free. So I don't know what President Fuckface has been doing, and I don't want to know.
Yeah, I don't want to know.
So I'm just chilling, getting ready for the snowstorm we're about to have tomorrow.
We got Gregory over here getting sexy for the ladies, back in the gym, hitting them weights.
Oh, that's what that is.
I don't even know how to respond to that. But yeah, I've been tired, and that doesn't mean that I've been tired to the point where I don't do shit. I'm still getting up early, going to work. Yes, I have a job. And going to the gym when I have a chance. That's all. Just, doing me.
But that's the thing, man. You stay busy, though. That's the one thing I do love about the fact that you stay busy. You know who else stays busy?
Cool.
Apparently, Big Baby Davis stays busy.
What's he up to?
Oh my
Oh, you
god!
didn't hear about this?
No.
Oh, I'm
Jeez.
super shocked. I'm actually happy I get to break this news. So apparently, Big Baby Glen Davis, Big Baby Davis, reported by ESPN, police say former NBA player Glen Big Baby Davis was arrested in a Maryland hotel last month on drug possession and distribution charges. In Baltimore, reported that Davis was arrested February 7th in the Hampton Inn in Aberdeen. According to court records, the hotel owner smelled marijuana come from Davis's room. Police found 126 grams of marijuana and a briefcase containing $92,000 in cash in Davis's room. Davis was arrested and later indicted on 7 counts of drug possession and distribution. So let me ask you, before we even get into that, if this was you, right, would the first thing you do would be go on your private jet with a box of Popeye's chicken on one hand and on the seat next to you a bag and briefcase full of random money, talking about how you'll get your day in court? Does that sound like a smart thing for either one of you guys to do?
No.
I don't really get it. Well,
He did that shit.
I don't get it. So he's actively going for the Antoine Walker MC Hammer Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yo, at least with Antoine Walker, it wasn't like some illegal shit. He was just, as my dad said, he was making Antoine Walker bets. He was making Michael Jordan bets with Antoine Walker money.
Well, how much weed was that? You said like 90,
192 grams?
192 grams?
126 grams.
126 grams? I mean...
You know what I'm saying? A kilo is 1,000 grams.
But I mean, that's not really...
That's just weed, though.
It's weed, and it's not like... That's not like...
It's not a lot.
That's not a lot of weed. That's a...
But why would he also have... in his
3 to 4 ounces, maybe?
But it also says he had... how much cash did he have on him? You got to remember the most $92,000 in cash.
Okay.
Why?
Where'd they get the distribution from, though? Did he have like baggies and a scale or some shit? Like
They didn't say anything. This is all ESPN. I'm pretty sure there's more of it on.
Free Big Baby Davis, yo.
Keep that
This
nigga.
is a travesty of justice, dude.
Keep that nigga in jail. Weed is free. You are an idiot.
I wouldn't say it's free.
Well, not free. It's quote unquote legal in most places, man. Like, why would you do that?
It's true, and the thing is, like, how much did he make in the course of his career? What did they say? 30
I think
million.
it was like $35 million.
35 million. What are you doing in a what, Holiday Inn, Hampton Inn? You should be like in a 4-star hotel somewhere, smoking cocaine with real rich people.
Actually,
or sniffing.
his net worth is only $12 million right now. But he's easily made more. He's easily made more than that.
His net worth is $12 million more than me. I have no sympathy for this guy right now, to be honest with you.
I don't. Neither do I. And on top of that, what makes it even worse, it wasn't like he was a terrible basketball player. He was one of those guys who could have had a really, well, we'll say a 10-year. He probably gonna play longer than that. Probably make a 12, 15-year career just being like a bench guy, a role player guy. Like
He has a championship.
He has a championship. He has a championship. I think his rookie year or his sophomore year. He has a champ. No, his rookie year. He got a championship his rookie year. So he has credentials. Like, you know what I mean. He was a pivotal part of one of their runs to the finals. Like, you know, so he wasn't like he was just some garbage dude, like the 12th man off the bench.
It just seems like there's more to the story. Like, I'm not saying
Yeah, he's an
like,
idiot.
you know, Juan Narcos Ortega, but it just seems like it's a lot of like if this wasn't Big Baby Davis, this probably wouldn't make it to the news.
Yeah.
I mean,
Big
I think the
Davis.
biggest thing would be that he had $92,000 in cash, but it really wasn't that much weed. And unless it was like bagged up for distribution, and if he's worth $12 million right now, he'll beat that. He'll beat those charges easy.
Big baby
Throw
Noriega.
that shit out.
Yeah.
Because, come on now. Like, obviously he's rich. So if you're rich, is it really peculiar to be carrying $92,000 with you?
Yes. Why would you just randomly have $92,000?
I mean,
But if you're on a private jet and you're on your way somewhere,
No.
maybe you just feel like doing
No. They
something.
found $92,000 in cash with him in the hotel room.
Oh, in the hotel room.
Yeah.
well, prostitutes are expensive nowadays if you take into consideration inflation.
Yo, peep game. If he didn't make that Facebook video talking about, yo, this your man Big Baby Davis eating chicken wings, yo, I'm gonna have my day in court on like this tiny private jet, which is, you know, better than my private jet, and like a bag full of money, I don't even think we'd be having this conversation. We'd just be like, yo, we have some cash and some weed. Shit happens.
It's very true.
Like who gives a shit? Like, I don't care, get a hooker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't, do you, man?
All right. Well, I think one of the biggest issues with this too is that he kind of, when athletes make so much money and then they end up in the news for stupid shit like this, it just makes it so much harder for like other people to get credibility. So when you hear like people on the news telling LeBron James to shut up and dribble, things like that, right? It kind of takes away from their credibility because they'll reflect what somebody like Big Baby or Antoine Walker's doing.
Well, they can't. It depends on. I think it all depends on the level of the athlete or the level of the celebrity. Like if this was Jay-Z, then they could make these claims and things like that. But if like Glen Davis does that, and then they're talking to like let's say LeBron James, it's like, well, how do you know you all end up like Big Baby Davis? You're like, so you're gonna take Glen Davis, who's on like, you know, a level of like a 4-year-old, and compare him to LeBron James, who's a multi-millionaire conglomerate. He's not a businessman; he's a business man.
He has a lot more to lose.
Exactly. So, like, I don't think it'll really hurt anyone's credibility at all. I think the funniest thing about this was, I think this is when this was on the ticker, when it was Glen Davis arrested. I think 90% of the world went, who?
I kind of went like who, and I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
Because I haven't heard from him in a long time. Like,
Yeah.
what happened to his career? Like, what happened?
I'm not sure if he got traded to the Clippers, but he ended up on the Clippers with Doc Rivers again, and after that, stayed in obscurity.
Doc Rivers is going to end up in a hotel being arrested for some weed, too. If he doesn't.
Doc Rivers is fine. That dude, Doc Rivers is one of those guys who has, not only was he was a really good NBA player, he was a really good coach with the championship. He was I think he's a GM in the Clippers. I think he's a GM, and he was an NBA analyst. So he's fine. So even if for some reason they fire him from the coach of the Clippers, which is more likely going to happen, he was smart enough to make himself a brand. So if he leaves, they're gonna throw him on ESPN real quick.
So what are you saying? So rewind back a little bit. Big baby Davis.
Big baby Maria.
There's no comeback in this. There's no comeback in this future. That's what you're trying to tell me.
No, we are going to see Big Baby Davis on TMZ with the classic arrested face,
Looking like Nick Nolte.
Yeah.
Nick Nolte's mugshot.
Yo, there was an NFL player, same thing, on the Cubs, or not the Cubs, the Bears.
What happened?
A few years back, who had ended up on drug charges. Like this is a thing.
Listen, if you play in the NFL, do whatever you want, because you know what? With this CT and head injury thing, smoke all the weed, take all the drugs you can. I don't care what you do. Football seems like a pretty tough sport. I wouldn't have any of my kids doing it.
Well, the first thing that came up, and I thought this was more recently, but Sam Hurd receives 15-year sentence for drug distribution role in 2013. So there's that. You know what I mean? This is nothing new, man. Like this is, you know what I mean? Like it's like one of those things, hide in plain sight. Like who's really going to check the NFL player? Who's really going to check the NBA player? But even then, you got to be smart about it. And on top of that, Glen Davis. Oh, he was in the Magic. I forgot. He was in the Orlando Magic for a while as well. Okay. And he was doing pretty well when he was there. But then, going back to doing dumb things, he couldn't get a room, and I guess he had some shorty in his truck. Mm-hmm. He got mad and started throwing computers.
I can't wait till the true Hollywood story on this guy's life comes out, because I feel like there's a lot of weird shit going on.
True Hollywood story. They're going to be on UPN?
Oh, shit.
It's the only place you're going to get a Big Baby Davis True Hollywood story.
Thursday at 9 after Moesha.
Big Baby Davy. He loves us the most. Yeah, man. So guess what, guys?
What's up?
We got a sponsor.
Really?
We really got a sponsor.
I knew this. You told me about this.
I'm actually looking, because like I said, the most professional, unprofessional podcast.
We're gonna be looking all snazzy pretty soon. I don't want to spoil it for the viewers.
So
or the listeners.
Talked to this. I'm not sure if it's a male or female, but I talked to this person, found them online, and a buddy of mine sent me a clip. Sent me a link to these bow ties. It was a picture of one of them was a Star Wars bow tie, and the other one was one of the Hulk. And I was like, "Yo, that's dope." And I said something, and we ended up conversing. So it's called Collections of a Chaotic Mind. And under it says bow ties are cool. Okay. And they've got some cool ones. They got some like your pretty standard ones, like the yellow and white one I'm showing the guys now. They got a couple of like really it's like a nice blue, but there's some other ones. There's one for like Alabama. There's a Florida Gators one. There's like United States Army, but like for people like us in the room, I wish I had this for our wedding. Not me and Greg's wedding. Me and my wife's wedding. There's a couple of Batman ones, a couple of Hulk ones. There's a Robin. There's an Iron Man, Flash, Thor.
Ooh, snazzy.
Yeah, a lot of these are dope. I'm actually gonna cop a couple of these. I love bow ties. So, but here's the good part for all you listeners out there. For all of the listeners of the Old Man Wade Show, you can get a discount. So if you go and find this, again, it's called Collections of a Chaotic Mind on Etsy. And if you use the promo code CCM10, you can get 10% off of your purchase.
M as in Mary?
Yep. So we'll do it again. We'll do CC as in Charlie, M as in Mary, 10, and you'll get 10% off of your purchase. So I want to shout out Collections of a Chaotic Mind. You can also find them on Instagram and Facebook, and also obviously on Etsy too. I want to shout out you guys, and thanks for reaching out, and thanks for the conversation that we actually had about that. So, the meat of the conversation. So, Javi, looks like he had something you wanted to say.
No, nothing. I'm just imagining myself in a snazzy bow tie.
The little bow ties are kind of dope.
I can't freaking wait.
I'm gonna take pictures. Take some pictures with my Hulk bow tie.
I'm gonna need a Black Panther bow tie.
I'm gonna talk to them. I don't know if they do these like custom made ones or anything like that. But if they do custom made bow ties, You know what I mean?
It's a wrap. I'm rocking bow ties every day.
We're gonna get Just Greg one that says Just Greg on it. One that says you ain't got no job.
The way he's looking at you right now.
Yeah, I don't need that Lex Luthor stare in my life.
Yeah, for real. Like, it's about to be a fight in the studio.
I wear one that says overhyped.
Oh, shots fired!
Shout back out to the Black Panther overhyped episode we did. All right. So I actually hit you guys up, and I had a conversation over a conversation I wanted to have with you guys about relationships. We do a lot of relationship talks on here, a lot of conversations on here. One of the things that we try to stress is respect. Respect for men, respect for women. Actually being just generally being a good person. But we're in a new day and age, and sometimes people just don't know how to act in relationships. So when it comes to one night stands, when it comes to courting a male or a female, and so I asked a few people. I was like, so I said, fellas, what is some advice you'd like to give guys when dating? Some do's, some don'ts. Ladies, what are some things that annoy you on dates? I got some really good responses on that. So I'll go one by one. I'll let you guys respond to that. My boy DJ, shout out to DJ Daniel Murray, DJ Strong. Be respectful. Act like a gentleman. Actually go to her door, picking her up, or if meeting her at a location, stand up and greet her appropriately. Compliment her in a respectful way. Wear nice clothes. Do not stare at her chest. Do not text her you're outside when picking her up. Do not split the bill. Do not pay her. Do not play on your phone. Do not talk about your ex-girlfriend's previous hookups. Do not talk about sex.
I mean, is it that simple?
It's I agree with a lot of what he said. There's just certain things on there that I think if you do it or you don't do it isn't really going, I don't think it's going to matter that much.
Expand on
Kind of depends on the person. You could be going on a date with someone who, if let's say you guys go on a date and you pull up to her house. I get the whole don't text that you're outside, actually walk up to the door and all this other stuff. But some people don't care about that. Some women aren't going to care about that. Some women are actually like, what if there's nowhere to park? And you're like, hey, I'm outside. You want to come down? Okay, she comes down and she gets in the car. You can do that. You can open the door for her. You can do stuff like that. I think it really depends. Some women actually nowadays don't really like doors open for them and stuff. There's
they'll get upset if you open the door for them.
Not upset, but I think it's more of a feminist approach to certain things.
Mm-hmm.
So they might not want their doors open for them. They'll gladly accept you paying for food, but which is funny because I think sometimes women kind of pick and choose what's acceptable and what's not acceptable if we're talking about dating etiquette. You know what I mean? And granted, there's always things that are acceptable and what's not acceptable, but there's certain things that I think that are staples in the realm of dating etiquette that nowadays they might take offense to versus other stuff where if it's more beneficial to them, they're like, no, you can do that.
So what do you think is something that would be a staple in a relation, like a staple when going on a date? What's a staple for you think is? Other than obviously respect the person you're with, you know what I mean, things like that.
I think a staple is doing your best to make sure everything that you do makes the other person feel comfortable. From your attitude, from where you go, to just the kind of energy you bring. I think being comfortable is paramount when it comes to going on dates, especially the first couple of dates. Because that's the stage where you're really trying to get to know somebody and you want them to be comfortable enough so they can open up and assuming you really like the person, you guys can make some pretty good progress and move forward, and maybe they'll blossom into something solid.
You brought up something that you brought up a keyword, energy, and I think that's something that people don't really get, and like how important it is. How like even if like you could be really excited about a date, and that energy transfers to the next person, like you know what I mean, or if you're nervousness, that nervousness also, and I've learned this like when I was single, nervousness, timidness, and insecurity is a panty dryer. Like you know what I mean, because that same energy goes into them. Like and I'm not saying all women, so let me just get that out the way, but like not even just women, people want to know that they could be comfortable around someone, that they're like, if something goes down, they're protected. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so, if someone...
You think that early on, they're looking at that? Like, they're looking...
Absolutely.
They're already looking at those, like, oh, this guy's gonna freaking be a protector, like, day one.
Men and women.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to... Like, I love my wife, and one of the reasons I love my wife is, like, I don't have to worry about someone messing with her. You know what I mean? She's strong enough to know what... she's smart enough to know not to be in certain situations. And she's smart enough to get out of situations, and she's strong enough to take care of herself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So these are things that like me as a man, I looked at. Like you know what I mean? I don't want to date. I never wanted to date some dainty flower. The fuck that doesn't do anything. I need strong women. Like I need a strong woman. And that's what I got. And I think we as men, we look at the same energy too. Like you know what I mean? Like when we all go on dates, don't you look at a woman and it's just like are their shoulders slumped? Like, are they paying attention? Like, you know what I mean? Like, are they... And, like, just like these physical tics kind of ruin the energy in the room.
I'm going to be honest with you, and it's been a long time since I've been in the dating world, but I don't know if I... And I was younger, so I probably was just looking at the titties and calling it a date, to be honest with you. But I feel like... Well, besides that point, we can get into that later, but... Like, Greg, so listening to you and listening to a lot of people talking about the dating world, like, there seems like there's a lot of rules that people know of, right? Like, like everybody knows that whether you agree with it or not, more than likely the guy's going to pay for the date, right? Or, the guy's going to do some gentlemanly stuff. The woman's going to dress, like, as good as she's ever, for, like, the first date, because it's, like, the first, like, the interview, whatever. So it doesn't seem like with those rules set up and everybody knows the rules, like it doesn't seem like it should be that hard. And
you know what's funny? You say that, and then the next comment, my boy Chuck says, "Be confident in your approach and know that if she, and this can go for he, is not appreciative to that approach, she or he probably aren't worth the second date."
Can you repeat that one more time? I'm so sorry.
Along the lines of what my man DJ said, be confident in that approach and know that if they are not appreciative of that approach, they're not worth the second date.
Like,
I agree with that 100%.
So, like,
how do they show appreciation, though?
Well, you just thank you.
I think there's
I mean, that's
ways to show
simple,
appreciation. There's like, if you're being chivalrous, if you're opening doors, pulling out chairs, say thank you. If you're like, if this person went out of their way to pick a location or a thing to do during the date, and it turns out to be something that she finds pleasant, engaging, and makes the date fun, thank you. Or be a team player, that kind of thing. There's ways that you can show that you're appreciative of the date.
Yeah, like when we like you think about things, but even like let's look at it from a woman's standpoint. Like when we were out dating, or like when Greg, like you appreciate when a woman goes, "Hey, we should try this," because it seems like they're actually looking forward to this encounter.
A team player.
Yeah. Or even, and again, like you're a giving person, so for you the reach is appreciated. At least reaching for their wallet or their purse is something that's appreciated.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? So it's just showing that you actually, from on both sides, acknowledging that if you make a really bad joke and they don't make you feel uncomfortable, like be appreciative of that. Like you know what I mean? If you're with a woman and like her bra showing, you know what I mean? Just go, hey, just give her a little nudge, just let her know, like, hey, this is out. There's something else they may appreciate. So like, just like you said, like being appreciative of things is something else.
Also, just making sure for the women, because really a date shouldn't be about where the guy takes you, if the guy paid or not, if the guy made you comfortable or not.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a thing where two people went out and did something, and a lot of what he did, what he does hold as much weight as what she does.
Well, I guess that's what my confusion is. It's like, because you go right there, like the main point of the date is to going out with somebody and getting to know them, right? So I feel like a lot of the issues, and again, I'm looking at this as an observer, right? Like a lot of these issues are based on like people not following like arbitrary, almost made up rules of behavior, right? Mm-hmm. Or like people feeling slighted because their gestures weren't appreciated enough, right? And I get that, but at the same time, like, why does it? I feel like that's causing extra complications. Like, it's two people who like each other, right? Attracted to each other. Mm-hmm. Why can't it be as simple as, yo, let's go out and chill, right? Like, it does. It seems. I don't know if I'm simplifying it, oversimplifying it.
I totally agree with that, but there's some women who disagree because they want the quote unquote date.
But we're men, we're men. Let's go to a female and be like, yo, let's go out. Let's go chill.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You guys are both coming off really Kirk Lazarus right now.
Who's that?
Tropic Thunder. Well, it's simple as baby. You and I's going on a date.
But
I feel that's.
But you know what? When two people decide to go on a date, automatically there's etiquette, there's expectations, there's so much to consider. Versus just saying, hey, let's go chill. Mm-hmm. Let's do this. Let's do that. We're not talking about, hey, come to my crib. Yeah. Or let me come over to your house. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, hey, it's going to be nice out on Thursday. You're free. I'm free. Let's take a walk around the, Jamaica Pond. Yeah. Let's go grab some ice cream. Let's go to Charles River and just chill. That kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But I'm finding that some women, and you know what, this is, I think I have a little bit of, one of the issues that I have with some women is that it's not that they're expecting too much too soon. Mm-hmm. It's just that let's not make things difficult. Let's not make things complicated. There's really nothing wrong. If a guy decides, you know what, let's chill, let's get to know each other before we actually go on a quote-unquote date. Some women get offended by that. Really? Yeah, they get offended by that. They're like, no, I want you to take me out on a date. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of like, okay, cool. But in the back of your mind, you're like, it's not that serious. Like, we've been talking on the phone for a while. We've been bumping into each other for a while. Like, we know each other. But before we go on this date, before I spend my money on this date being with you, can I at least get to know you a little more so I get a better idea of where to take you, so that I can see if there's chemistry? What if we chill and you turn out to be kind of crazy?
You know what's funny about that? My wife, shout out to Mrs. Old Man Wade, she always says best. She tells all of her friends, just male or female, go out for coffee. That's the best thing to do. Yeah. Best thing you do. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? There's no pressure of, like, if someone goes and tells their homegirls, oh, he didn't pay for my $2 coffee, yeah, nigga might be cheap. But in that same sense, it's like, why do you care that he didn't spend $2 on a coffee? Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? But on the flip side of that, as a guy, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Do you spend an extra $2 on coffee, they might appreciate that. Like, you know what I mean? Or, like, you know what I mean? Or you ask questions, you sit. It takes a little while to drink some coffee. Have a scone, have a croissant. Mm-hmm. Like, you get to know people because you're 100% right. Yeah. Like sometimes it's not worth spending a date probably anywhere upwards of $50 to $100, right? Mm-hmm. On a real first date. I'm not talking about hanging out. I'm talking about a real first date, like a dinner, museum, whatever. You're spending upwards of $50 to $100. not every male or female is worth that. We don't agree with that, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, you know what I mean? So why would anybody want to spend that money when they don't even know the person?
And on top of that, you might be taking somebody out and spending your hard-earned money, no matter how much it is, and this person ends up not being. It ends up not being, no chemistry. These expectations that you didn't know were expected, and I don't want to sound like, I'm attacking women, because I'm not. I know, like, the dating world is not fair for either of us. Men have our gripes, we have our gripes, women have their gripes, but there's things like, I'm kind of losing what I was saying, but I just know that if I'm taking a woman out on a date, I think I like them. And I don't want to be in a situation where I'm on a date with a woman and it feels like an interview. Or if it feels like and it feels like I'm chaperoning somebody. Because there are, and I've never had a terrible date. Never.
Really?
I've never had a terrible date. I've been on dates where it was kind of like, forgettable, but nothing like awful. But there have been dates where I've been out with a woman and it felt like I was kind of just
paying the dinner,
just the chaperone, kind of just showing her around, almost like a because there wasn't, like, the conversation wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. It was way better on the phone.
Maybe some people just aren't interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it could be that too. I mean, it could be that too. But I'm just saying, like, there's times where I just felt like, okay, you know what? If we had just kind of chilled and not gone on a date where it has to be somewhat formal, things would have been a little. Maybe there would have been more chemistry. Maybe maybe we could have saved ourselves the trouble and not gone on a date if it ended up not being a good idea.
Which brings up something like having a conversation, things like that. Matt, one of the rock star groomsmen, he brought up a good thing. He goes, dating apps for best chances. Be patient, connect on as many topics as possible. Make inside jokes in team up situations. Discuss goals. Find their preferences for sex, food, religion, TV, and politics. If it makes sense after that, go all in like an adult.
Yep.
I mean, I agree with that. I think everybody so far has been...
Shout out to Matt Joro.
The love guru, Matt. I think everything that we've read so far, I think makes sense, right? Like, it makes a lot of sense. Like, especially that list, like, get to know the person. But I think that when it comes to the reality of things, right? I think especially women, both women and men, like, it's hard for them to open up to people that they don't know, aren't comfortable with. So how are you gonna go ahead?
Would you like to hear some nonsense?
Sure.
Do everything the women say, annoy them here, they will remember you.
What?
That might be a troll.
I don't know. I don't really care. Our own girl Ivy.
Okay.
She says, be honest and treat others how you would want to be treated. AKA, if you say you're going to call, follow through. Don't fluff it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, it just seems like we got another one. Stop talking about yourself and have her talk about herself as much as possible. Then casually slip into the conversation how you have a 10-inch penis.
I mean, that's always a go-to move for creeps.
Shout out to my boy Chris.
How's that work out?
He's married.
Oh, see, there you go.
He's a nerd. He's a married nerd. We bonded on his Deadpool hat.
Well, that's the thing too. Like,
be yourself.
Yeah, be
That's
yourself.
thing, man.
Yeah.
Like I had to hide. I think Greg remembers Fletcher like grabbing all of my comic book posters off of my wall and bringing them into the comic book room because I didn't want my now wife to know I was a comic book nerd. Yeah. And she embraced that.
Well,
shit,
I think
man.
a lot of guys, like, we act hard around each other, right? Like, we kind of put up a facade sometimes, right? Because that's just the way we are, right? And I think we do the same thing with women. We don't want women that we're interested in to think of us in a certain light, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we might be into some, like, we might like playing video games on occasion or whatever, right? You'd be surprised how many beautiful, smart women are into that same shit, right? If we just go into, like, old man here said, be honest with yourself, you're gonna find somebody. I think. I don't know. I might be too optimistic, but
Rick. He goes, always be honest. Don't lie about who you are. She can't accept you for who you are if you are creating a different picture than what you are. Mm-hmm. Also, you would be surprised what kind of lady you can court if you aim high. It's all about confidence. Seriously.
or delusion.
To me.
And my buddy Chris is such a fucking asshole. Don't, I repeat, do not store her number in your phone as not my side chick. And then he tags his wife in it too, which is even funnier. Yeah, man. So yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to, like with relationships. You guys have anything else you want to add to that before we move on to the next relationship-esque topic?
Just be patient, man. Yeah, we're all messed up people, and nobody's gonna be perfect.
We're all fucked up people.
You know?
And don't let some of these entitled people get to you, men and women.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, you don't owe them shit.
You don't owe them anything. They'll get what you give them, and they will like it.
Or they won't.
Or they won't like it. You know what I mean?
And move on, man.
There's so when women are like, oh, he took me here, or he took me there, oh, he's cheap, or he didn't want to get this because it costs this much and it's cheap. First of all, I want to clear this up. A lot of guys actually aren't cheap. If you find that a guy didn't want to spend a certain amount of money on a date or on you, maybe he just didn't want to spend that amount on you.
Or maybe the funny thing about that is what you consider cheap, they thought was expensive. We've all seen that date.
Yeah.
Dude ran around had $8 to his name and tried to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
But the proof is in the pudding. If dudes out here, everybody got Jordans, everybody got iPhone, Samsung, Galaxy S8s, whatever. There's a lot of men out here who have expensive things. Mm-hmm. What makes you think that he can't afford you? You know what I mean? At least for a date.
Yeah.
You know what
One day, exactly. Yeah.
If he met somebody he really liked and he really wanted to impress them, he is going to put his best foot forward.
Exactly.
He's going to spend that extra bit of cash it might take to, be impressive on the date. It all depends on what he wants to do. And for the fellas, just because you spend money on a woman doesn't necessarily mean she owes you anything.
Yo,
say that one more time.
Oh my God.
Just because you take a woman out on a date and spend some money, or chill and spend some money, she doesn't owe you shit.
Flat out, if she don't owe you, she don't owe you sex. She don't owe you a fucking phone call back.
Like, you're making it really hard for a lot of the single dudes I know in my life to find women by being creeps. So all you creeps out there ruining it for all the good dudes, just cut it out, man, for real, because it's.
Yo, shout out to the Me Too movement, because I am laughing my ass off at these fucking creeps getting called out.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm like, good, motherfucker, fuck you guys. Excuse my language, sorry for cussing. But nah, man, but you're right though, be respectful, on both ends of the spectrum, be respectful. Just because a man buys you a steak dinner doesn't necessarily mean you gotta drop the draws.
Yeah.
Women should also know that that's not the case.
But at the same time, I think women should understand that, because there's some women who are legit into somebody and they go on dates with guys that they're interested in, and then there's women that take advantage and want the free meal, the free movie, the free event, whatever, to do whatever.
I would just like to say that I was a dude who had a chick for certain things.
Okay, and you know what?
I was not a nice person.
At some point, everybody's they dabbled in that a bit.
But as adults.
But women, you also have to understand that if you're gonna continue to accept certain things from guys, some guys, because that's the mentality of some guys, are gonna believe that you owe them something.
I think this comes back to your point about watching out for signs and things like that.
Watch the signs. Some of us, like myself, what I decide to do, I made the choice myself. if I decide to take a woman here or there or whatever, spend whatever kind of money, that's because I decided to. I didn't feel pressured. I didn't look at her and say, man, she looks really good. I gotta go the extra mile. Like, it's not about that. I generally, where I go on dates are places that I would go by myself. So I don't ever feel like, oh, well, I'm going to spend some extra cash to impress her to do this. Yeah. You know, and then if it doesn't work out, okay, well, it's not like I did anything extra special or went to Top of the Hub and spent like $400 on dinner or whatever. We went to where I would normally go, so I don't... If it didn't work out, then I don't feel bad. But there are some guys who are like, you know what, I work hard for my money. If I spend my money on you, then I expect something out of it. Unfortunately, life isn't fair and dating life isn't fair. So if you decide to go out with a woman and spend your time, spend your energy, and spend your money, and next week you see her out with somebody else who's spending their money on her, you know what, that's life.
Call it
It is unfair. It's unfair because if I spend money on something, I like to think of it as an investment. Yeah. You know, I like to think of it as an investment, but you have to also have to understand in the arena of dating, it's just not that simple.
Well, I just want to hang on like one thing that you said as well, and I think that's like it's beautiful advice for people trying to figure out how to be interesting on dates. Be an interesting person, like do stuff on your own without a date. Go to the Museum of Fine Arts, right? Go to, you know...
Be creative.
Like, and just explore the area around you. Do cool-ass things. Read cool-ass books. Become an interesting person. This is for men and women. And then when it's time for you to, like, bring somebody into your life, they're going to be like, oh, this person's cool as shit. They do interesting stuff. Like, dating's not going to be... Like, the pressure of finding someplace cool to go, right? You're not going to have that pressure because you automatically know. You hit them up. Instead of like, oh, when I'm going to see you text, it's going to be like, what you doing? Nothing? All right, let's go to, you know, the Elizabeth Stewart Gardner Museum and then get some dinner at, like, you know, Aquitaine, right? Something cool, some cool shit. So, yeah, be cool. Do cool shit. Your life will be better for it.
All right, so I got another one for you. So we talked about, like, you know, the ins and outs of dating. So here's a good one for you. Do you guys have any rules, before you let you guys think about it before I say it, do you guys have any rules for one-night stands? Perseparate on that for a second. My homegirl, I'm going to call her to live and die in L.A., because her last name used to be end in A. She knows who she is. She goes, don't go into a one-night stand expecting to be able to turn it into more. Also, don't stay the night, leave before dawn.
So you mean like after one night stand, you shouldn't cuddle, wake up in the morning, make
it's a one night stand.
5-course breakfast?
Nah, man. So, Pat, I'll edit that later. The mailman, he goes, as soon as you see a sword, run. True story.
Oh my God.
So, I immediately asked him to expand on that. I was hammered and I met a girl who lived near a bar I was at. We got late night pizza nearby. She asked if I wanted to come over to hang out. When I walked in, she had a katana sword, some shit like that near her table. I could have checked out the door, but at that point, booze apparently does in fact impair one's cognitive abilities. So I stayed and she made me a drink. Pretty much after that, she clutched the sword, unsheathed it, and stood between me and the door, casually talking about music as if there was nothing strange about the scene. Finally, I said I had to break the seal, climbed my drunk fat ass out of the window, jumped. Thank God it was only the second floor.
That is an amazing story.
I can't wait to get the mailman on the show for this. This dude.
Oh my God.
My favorite story ever was he took a chick home. Excuse me. He banged a chick in Minnesota, woke up the next morning and found out she was a racist. And then casually mentioned how his best friends were all black and walked out the door.
Wait, is he black?
No, that's white.
Oh,
mailman's white.
Okay. Huh.
I don't think he gives a shit if I mention his name.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? I like that guy.
I agree with those rules, though.
You're gonna laugh when I say this, though. He's actually in computer engineering as well, so you guys can have like a real good convo about shit like that.
I like geeks.
So
I agree with those those rules.
So what I got?
Don't stay the night. If you're gonna cuddle, cool, but don't make it an all-nighter. That's about it. You know, you kind of come do your thing and.
Like a one night stand is like the definition of a non-formal activity, right? Like it should be like no rules, right? It should be like
two consenting people deciding that they want to get it in. You know, whether it's someone's house, their house, your house.
I need to expand on that.
Or a hotel room. You know, just do what you came to do and then leave.
My homegirl, Miss Oso, she said, one night stands, be honest. Women like that and respect it. She goes, diet date, purple cactus, always a salad sushi place, and be smart and let her decide where.
Oh God, don't let her decide where.
Not gonna be able to do it!
Okay.
I do agree with the first part about it, but just be honest about it.
Yeah. Like where to eat or where to
go.
Where to go? No, don't do that.
Because that could be beneficial. Or that could suck.
In regards to dating or
a date.
Okay. I thought we were still talking about one night stands. I was like, wait, what?
No, but she said one night stand, she was like, just be honest about what it is. Women will respect that. Like if you're out at the bar or whatever and you're just like, look, I'm just trying to fuck. Well, obviously not so smooth as that, but
I mean that works for her, but I know a lot of girls that would probably be turned off by that as well. So it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't in that type of situation,
but
right?
But see, that's what I don't get, man. Like if you take a female home, right, and y'all have sex, and then like you didn't describe what was going on, isn't that worse than saying, "Hey, I'm just trying to do this," and then call it a night? Isn't that a little more respectable?
I just never been in a situation where I had to think about a one night stand before the one night stand actually happened, right? Like I've never been in that situation where I'm like, I'm gonna take this girl out. We're going to date for 2.5 hours, and then I'm going to take her home, and we're going to sleep for approximately half an hour together. Like, it just never, I don't remember it ever happening that way. I just remember maybe a night of drinking, right? One thing leads to another. You wake up in the bed with a random female.
All right, so question to both of you guys. First off, have either of you had one night stands?
Of course.
Yep.
So I would assume I would be the more whorish of the three of us, right? When I was in my heyday.
Probably.
I've never had a one night stand. I've literally got to know. I don't trust people. Yeah. Like I especially don't trust women, and then I'm a bit of a cuddler, so I want to try to get a little snuggle time in. Maybe wake up and have some more sex. Get up, sunrise. Both wake up naked, watch her. She gets up and photos with her clothes in the sunrise, shit like that. So I never really did the one night stand thing. Plus, I don't trust myself. I don't trust myself at a woman's house because I don't know if they're gonna be crazy enough to stab me in their sleep and use my blood to some fucking ritual. Yeah. And I also don't trust a woman to be like. Not go walk into my roommate's room and stab him in the face like fuck you, fuck you, fuck. You know what I mean? So it's like so I don't. You know what I mean?
You have a very vivid imagination.
Me and I Hate Greg Coalition.
Yeah.
Well, you clearly never lived in a dorm.
No, I never lived the dorm life. I couldn't live. Let me tell you, a woman I know, who me and Greg both mutually know. I'm known as an asshole. Yeah. Everyone who knows me knows I'm an asshole. I'm a generous person, I'm a nice person, but I'm an asshole. This woman who we used to have sex. Yeah. We used to have sex a lot. We used to hate fuck. Like we would get into arguments, get into debates, and we would have sex.
50 Shades of Wade.
50 Shades of Wade, that's funny. So I misspelled her name in a text message.
Damn. It must have been really good hate fucking after that.
I don't know who it is, but I think I know.
You know who it is.
Oh my goodness.
And she went off on me, or like biblically.
Really? Like, were you guys in a relationship?
No. The funny thing about
did she own a katana?
No.
Okay.
So the funny thing about it was, I was just about to talk to her about a relationship, and I think I remember talking to you about this, Greg, and it was one letter off. There's one letter off. I'll tell you off air why. And she just went off on me. She goes, you know what? You know what, Mark? You are an asshole. And all I could, after she went off on me, all I said was, but you knew that already.
But I don't even, did you know beforehand that like she's sensitive about her name?
But she wasn't sensitive about. She wasn't even sensitive about her name. She was just sensitive about everything.
I think you dodged a bullet.
You're probably right. I did.
I did.
Literally sensitive about everything. And yes, Greg, it's exactly who you think it is.
I wouldn't call you an asshole because of that. I would say that you.
Everyone I've talked to has said the same thing. They wouldn't call me an asshole.
No. She obviously had some issues at the time.
Especially when it comes to texting. Come on, like,
Yo, that's what I'm saying. I think that what is up with all these rules and like I can't deal with it.
Keys were next to each other.
Yo,
dude, this key in this key. I kid you not. That's how close they were to each other.
Again, like there's rules in texting. Like there's rules. A friend of mine's asked the question whether or not I would be upset if I'm texting somebody and they're not responding, but then I see them posting on Facebook. Would that upset me? I didn't even know how to answer that question. Like, I don't even know. Like, that doesn't even make sense to me. Like, all these rules that we kind of make up because of, like, social media and then, like, all these dating. Like, I must have been a real asshole because I don't remember following any of this shit.
Straight up, I could not live the dorm life, man. I would have the worst fucking reputation ever.
I mean, everybody technically has a bad reputation in a dorm.
Let me explain to you the bad reputation I have. I have fucked multiple of Diddy's kids' mom's friends to the point where I'd meet a new one of them and she'd be like, no.
Really?
And she'd be like, no, absolutely not. She'd be like, Marky, do not do that. I'm like, I haven't done anything yet. She goes, I see that look in your eye. And I fuck him.
I think you fit in quite nicely in a dorm.
No, I would not. No, I would not.
Everybody would love you.
They would be, let me tell you, I would walk out of my dorm room every day. So I'd be like, hey, such and such. And just them flipping me off right down the hallway. Just all it would be.
Okay.
I know who I am. I am self-aware that I am a stubborn, and I would be a stubborn whore. I know it. Self-aware. I know who I am.
There's nothing wrong with you. Speak your truth. There's nothing wrong with that.
What does Charlamagne always say? Speak your truth and no one can use it against you?
Mm-hmm. But you even, like, in that...
I believe in that wholeheartedly, man. Like, you can't... Like, there's nothing you can say to me right now that's going to make me think that, like, if someone, like...
So, did you date... let's turn the mic on you, old man. Like, did you date a lot back in the day, or what?
Did I date back in the day?
Yeah, did you date...
I had... In my life, I could say I've honestly had 2 serious relationships and 1 in high school.
All right, so, like, and you're married, dude. You're married, happily married, beautiful wife, right? Do you think, like, your past, like, how you dated? Because I feel like when you're dating, right, people, even if they don't date with a purpose, like, you're dating somebody that some way, somehow, somewhere deep, you possibly can see yourself with. Maybe, like, even if it's subconscious, right? Mm-hmm. So that's essentially the end goal of dating. Do you think, like, your dating habits or your fucking habits affected, like, the way you act as a married man, or as a husband?
Not.
No?
Absolutely not. My wife is nothing like any of the women I've ever dated.
No, but do you, like, it's just...
Nothing. Like, literally none of the things that I dealt with in any of my other relationships, I can say that I've learned anything from them that brought to the relationship. I've always had respect for women. Thanks to my grandmother. I've always had a respect for women watching my dad, who's never cheated on my mother, no matter how, like, bad she was to him. You know what I mean? So I never had any issues like that. Mm-hmm. Me and my wife developed a relationship. Eminem said it best. Maybe this is what happens when a tornado meets a volcano. Yeah. We went through hell to get where we're at now. And I'm pretty sure I've said this on the podcast before. Yeah. But we learned from each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she's been on a podcast talking about her fiance who died. Yeah. Not, like, unexpectedly, not like cancer. she got a phone call one day and was like, your fiance's dead. Like, you know what I mean? So she had her shit to go through. Like, you know what I mean? I had my issues that I needed to deal with, like, mentally. Like, you know what I mean? And it was, what's always funny about it is I always tell everybody how no matter how much we tried to be away from each other, we always found some way to come back.
Well, there's the thing. Like, it seems like, and I hear this from a lot of people, including in my own experiences, right? And I know a lot of married, well, a relatively large amount of people that are married, right? And I hear similar things. Like, they learned almost everything that they know about their marriage or how they deal with their marriage. They learned within the marriage because of mistakes, whatever that they dealt with, worked through, blah 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 blah. Right? So even people that love each other, that like went through an engagement, got married for a number of years, they still have issues that they have to like get over, right? And so, and I know this. I know Mark, oh man, you know this, right? Being married. So for me, listening to like a lot of the issues people have in the dating world is like, yo, like the stuff that's causing people to like end potentially awesome relationships are things that possibly me and my wife dealt with on Monday, right? Like, oh, that's a Tuesday, right? And it's nothing because like you realize that we're all people, we all make mistakes. But if you, again, me and my wife, we have love that's built over a decade. Mm-hmm. But for me, that shows me that like there's potential in anything. Like people, I don't know. I feel like I know a lot of awesome single people, both male and female, and sometimes separately I'm like, yo, you'd be awesome for him or you'd be awesome for her. Mm-hmm. But then I feel like they tend to get in their own way, right? By, again, depending on these rules and then just waiting for the person to fail at it and finding excuses to end relationships or whatever it may be. And I don't know. I feel like we just make things too complicated.
People in general, yeah, I think that's another big thing. I think people do make things a little bit too complicated. But sometimes, honestly...
Don't take my advice about anything, though. Because I'm probably steering you wrong.
Is there... just Greg, is there a way for people to come... for like both people to come out like of the situation clean, though?
There is. It really depends on the parties involved, though. Like, you can have an amicable breakup and remain friends, or decide, you know what, because we had so much going on in our relationship, I don't think it's a good idea for us to be friends, but it's good that we can break up in a civil manner, and maybe sometime down the road we can, you know, catch up and maybe be friends, or we might bump into each other at Target and say what's up and, you know, just keep it moving. You know, I don't think every breakup should be like real nasty and, you know, all of a sudden like you hate the person and you're, you know, talking crazy about them on Twitter, or, you know, telling all your friends to stay away from this person because they're trash and all this other stuff. Doesn't need to be like that. If you guys aren't together, then just don't be together. And, you know, sometimes you just need that time to get over what happened. And then you can start to think about all the good things, and I think after a while you'll decide whether or not this person actually was like a benefit to you and a decent person. And depending on whatever your feelings are in the end, you might say, you know what, I kind of miss this person. Not in a way that you want to get back with them, but in a way like, you know what, we had some good times. This is a decent person.
Yeah.
If I bumped into him or her, I'd say what's up. I'd even sit down and have coffee with them, you know, and then keep it moving.
See, that's cool. I like that because I like that because it kind of like separates the actual person, right, from whatever it was that kind of kept you from getting with each other. Because like people have value. People have value regardless of what you might feel about them. And like I think some of the best relationships come from friendships, right? Like you might meet up with that person again and become best friends.
Yeah.
And then from that friendship, you know, something might happen.
I mean, isn't like one of your best friends, like, you know, is your ex, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I have a few really good friends that are women that I've dated in the past. And there's nothing sneaky going on. There's no, there's no expectation for us to get back together. It's just, hey, how you doing? How are the kids? How's your mom? She was just asking about you the other day, or, how's everything? Like, it's just real cordial, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I kind of like it that way, you know? I don't want to have, like, it takes a lot of energy to hate somebody.
My mother always said that. My mother always thought, so my mother, like, hate was a bad word, was like a curse word. Like, she still cringes when she hears that word. It's like, see, it is literally the exact opposite of love. Mm-hmm. So, like, you know, the amount of energy you have to take to love someone, you have to put that same amount of energy into like, to hate somebody. Yeah. It just ain't fucking worth it. Yeah, so, do you think there's any way to get out of you know what, I got a good one for you guys. Because I've actually heard a couple of women say a couple of different things about this. I've heard women say to me, when I'm having, they were like, Mark, you should go out and have a one night stand, and I'm like, nah, because if they don't get off, I'm gonna feel bad. And they're like, why the fuck would you give a fuck if they got off? You got your nut. But I've heard the exact opposite for women go, if they don't get off, then you didn't do your job. So where's the line drawn when it's come to one night stands? Like, should you give a fuck whether or not they got off?
You should always give a fuck.
You should.
You should.
But it's not always
the case.
It's not always the case.
But you should.
Yeah.
That's my belief. If me and a person were to sleep together, I would hope, and it's imperative for me to get them there as much as they should want me to get there as well.
I agree. I think for me it was kind of more selfish because like I used to hang out with enough girls that I knew how much girls talked about, right? So for me it was like I didn't want my name out there. Like, oh, this dude's whack. So
yeah,
when I went in with that in mind. Like I didn't want to be known as like a minute man or whatever. Like he can't fuck, blah 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 blah.
Say what you want, but leave me my name.
Yeah, so you know, I went in there with intention. Right? You put on your work cap, bring in your lunch, go to work.
Yeah, man. Like there's one thing a woman could never say about me. They be like, "How was Mark?" They was like, "Oh, how's my wife? My wife did his thing." They was like, "Oh, how was this? It was good." "Oh, how was his tongue game?" And they would show a picture of Popeye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been the Old Man Wade Show.
Beautiful ending.
I want to thank Rockstar Groomsman, Just Greg, co-host Super Bowl Covey. Until next time.
Shout out to Spinach.
Shout out to Spinach. Again, shout out. I'm pretty sure our sponsor is never going to sponsor us again at the end of this shit. Shout out. I want to make sure I get the name right, though. Shout out to Collections, plural, of a Chaotic Mind. You can find them on Instagram. Collections of a Chaotic Mind. And again, I want to remind you all that for the listeners, you can get 10% off of your purchase with the code CCharlie, like C as in Charlie, M as in Marine, 10. That's CCM10 at Collections of a Chaotic Mind. Until then, can I get a damn it, Wade?
Damn it, Wade!